For 7 years, this camera has been a defiant titan, a monument to uncompromised engineering. It doesn't just take pictures, it captures epics. It doesn't just record video, it archives reality with a fidelity that mirrorless rivals still struggle to replicate. We are not here to read a spec sheet. We are here to talk about legacy, about power, about the Nikon D850. This is not just a camera review. This is an investigation into the truth of the digital SLR god. If you're a professional looking for the ultimate backup, or an enthusiast seeking a tangible connection to the art of photography, what you're about to hear and see will change your perspective forever. You must listen closely. The ultimate truth about the D850 begins now. To understand the D850, you have to understand the moment it arrived. 2017. The world was on the cusp of the mirrorless revolution. Canon had the 5D Mark IV. Sony was pushing the first-generation alphas. And then, Nikon dropped a bomb. This wasn't an iteration. It was a declaration. It took the high-resolution dominance of the D810 and fused it with the speed and focusing mastery of the flagship D5. The goal wasn't to compete. It was to dominate a space no one thought possible. The perfect marriage of resolution and speed. The result was a camera that felt limitless. Let's dive into the engine room. But forget the numbers for a second. Let's talk about the feeling of 45.7 megapixels. This resolution isn't about bragging rights. It's about forgiveness. It's about the freedom to crop a tiny detail from a sweeping landscape and still print a mural-sized image. It's a canvas so vast, it allows for creative correction months after the shoot. It's the silent promise of unmatched detail for the studio and the wildlife shooter. It's the closest thing we have to a medium format file in a standard full-frame body. But resolution without speed is just a beautiful statue. And this is where the magic happens. The D850, a high-resolution camera, fires at 7 frames per second, a speed you can push to 9 FPS with the optional battery grip. Think about that. Almost 46 megapixels delivered to your card nearly 10 times a second. It shattered the rulebook. It made every photographer stop and ask, what am I giving up for mirrorless? And then there's the autofocus system. Lifted directly from the D5, you get 153 focus points, 99 of them cross-type. In the world of DSLR focusing, this is a laser-guided missile. It locks on in dim light. It tracks a bird in flight. It finds the exact eye in a chaotic portrait. It is reliable, proven, and utterly predictable. The kind of focusing you bet your career on. We spend hours, sometimes days, with our camera. If the tool is a distraction, the art suffers. The D850 is a masterclass in ergonomics. It has a deep, sculpted grip that feels like an extension of your arm. Every dial, every button is perfectly placed. This is the comfort of professional tooling. But the most profound difference, the one that anchors a photographer to this body, is the optical viewfinder. Look through a modern electronic viewfinder, and you see a perfect, processed, and slightly delayed video feed. Look through the D850's viewfinder, and you see reality. You see light. You see the scene unfolding with your own eyes, framed by glass. This 100% pentaprism is bright, massive, and crucial for landscape and portrait work where you need to feel the moment, not a digital interpretation of it. This is the difference between observing and experiencing your subject. It's a connection that digital screens simply cannot replicate. Let's also talk about the battery life. This is not a talking point. It is a lifesaver. Mirrorless cameras are getting better, but the D850's battery offers an endurance that is staggering. You can shoot a full wedding, a multi-day hike, or an intense studio session without the constant anxiety of searching for a power outlet. It offers freedom. The D850 is famously a still camera, but its video capabilities are criminally underrated. It delivers 4K UHD footage, recording across the full width of the sensor. No punishing crops, no compromise on field of view. For documentary and cinematic projects, this means gorgeous, clean footage straight from a highly reliable system. It's proof that a stills camera can deliver stunning video when the underlying sensor is this powerful. Now, a feature that often gets overlooked, but is essential for wedding, event, and wildlife photographers. The silent electronic shutter in live view. This is the DSLR's answer to the mirrorless silence. When you need absolute discretion during a wedding ceremony or when capturing a skittish animal, flipping to live view and engaging the silent shutter turns this metallic beast into a ghost. You get the 45.7 MP resolution with absolutely no sound. It's a tool of surgical precision that every D850 owner uses religiously. The criticism is valid. It's heavy. It's bulky. It has a mirror. The shutter cycle is loud. But to judge the D850 by the metric of weight is to miss the entire point. Its weight is its stability. Its bulk is its battery life. Its mirror is its instantaneous, unlagged vision. In a world chasing smaller and lighter, the D850 stands as a monument to substance. It's built like a tank. It's weather-sealed to a degree that inspires confidence in a monsoon or a dust storm. When you're standing on a mountain ridge, shivering, you want the camera that says, "I was built for this." That camera is the D850. But how does it stand against the modern titans? The Z9? The A1? The D850 has one devastating advantage: the lens ecosystem. Every Nikon f-mount lens, from the legendary 50mm f/1.4 of the 1970s to the sharpest modern G and E lenses, works flawlessly. No adapters, no compromise, just pure, reliable performance. A vast, deep, and often affordable library of glass that gives the D850 owner a creative edge that a new mirrorless system still has to earn. The glass collection available to the D850 is a multi-decade legacy that cannot be rivaled overnight. This is the ultimate cost saver and the greatest creative opportunity. So, we arrive at the core question. In this post-mirrorless era, is the Nikon D850 still a relevant investment for the American photographer? The answer, with zero hesitation, is yes. But for who? If you are a studio or commercial photographer, the resolution, the color science, and the robust f-mount system make it an unbeatable workhorse. It's a guaranteed return on investment. If you're a wildlife or landscape photographer, the incredible battery life, the weather sealing, and the massive optical viewfinder are non-negotiable assets that keep you shooting when the mirrorless users are changing batteries. If you're an enthusiast seeking the best of the best in a DSLR, the D850 represents the pinnacle of a century of camera design. It's the last word in the DSLR chapter. Owning it is owning a piece of history that remains utterly competitive today. It is a camera that demands respect, but rewards that respect with uncompromised image quality. It's a camera for those who want their tools to feel substantial, reliable, and fundamentally photographic. It will not be the smallest camera in your bag. It will not have the latest AI subject tracking. But when you need to capture a 45.7 megapixel moment with unshakable focus and enduring reliability, you will reach for the heavy, confident grip of the Nikon D850. It was a beast then. It is a legend now, and its reign is far from over. Thank you for watching this deep dive. If you felt that connection, that yearning for power, let me know in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe for more definitive camera truths, and tell me, what legendary camera should we dive into next? They called it the last of its kind. They whispered that its days were numbered. They argued that mirrors and prisms belonged in a museum. They were all wrong. For 7 years, this camera has been a defiant titan, a monument to uncompromised engineering. It doesn't just take pictures, it captures epics. It doesn't just record video. It archives reality with a fidelity that mirrorless rivals still struggle to replicate, that we are not here to read a spec sheet. We are here to talk about legacy, about power, about the raw, undeniable capability of the Nikon D850. This is not just a camera review. This is an investigation into the truth of the digital SLR god. This is the definitive documentary on the camera that refused to die, that if you're a professional looking for the ultimate backup, or an enthusiast seeking a tangible connection to the art of photography, a connection that requires substance and reliability, what you're about to hear and see will fundamentally change your perspective. You must listen closely. The ultimate truth about the D850 begins now. To understand the D850, you have to understand the moment it arrived. 2017, the world was on the cusp of the mirrorless revolution. Manufacturers were already pivoting, investing billions into electronic viewfinders and on-sensor focusing. Canon had the 5D Mark IV, a capable but conservative offering. Sony was pushing the first-generation alphas, promising the future. And then Nikon, with a confident, almost arrogant swagger, dropped a bomb. This wasn't an iteration. It was a defiant declaration that the digital single-lens reflex still had vast, untapped potential. That IT took the high-resolution dominance of the revered D810 and fused it with the brutal speed, low-light acumen, and focusing mastery of the flagship D5. This was never a compromise. It was a synthesis. The goal wasn't to compete. It was to dominate a space no one thought possible. The perfect marriage of extreme resolution and unparalleled speed in a single body. The result was a camera that felt limitless. It was a complete professional toolbox in one magnesium alloy shell. Let's dive into the engine room. But forget the dry numbers for a second. Let's talk about the raw, visceral feeling of commanding 45.7 megapixels. This resolution isn't about bragging rights on an internet forum. It's about professional-grade forgiveness. It's about the freedom to crop a tiny, meticulously focused detail from a sweeping landscape, a detail barely visible in the original frame, and still print a mural-sized, gallery-worthy image. It's a canvas so vast, it allows for creative correction, drastic reframing, and post-production scaling months after the initial shoot. It's the silent promise of unmatched, dense detail for the demanding studio photographer, the meticulous product shooter, and the committed wildlife hunter. It's the closest thing we have to a medium format file in a standard full-frame body, all without the medium format price tag or its cumbersome workflow. This immense data capture capability is powered by a backside illuminated sensor design, the first of its kind in a Nikon full-frame DSLR. This BSI architecture pulls light more efficiently onto the photodiodes, translating directly into two key advantages: cleaner high ISO performance than previous generations and a stunningly wide 148-second base ISO of 64. This low base ISO is the secret weapon for landscape photographers. It provides an extended dynamic range that pulls incredible detail from shadows and tames blown-out highlights, giving you files that are malleable, deep, and rich with information. When you hear photographers rave about Nikon colors, much of that magic stems from the fidelity delivered at this low base ISO. But sheer resolution without speed is just a beautiful, static statue. And this is where the genius of the D850's architecture truly shines. The D850, a high-resolution camera, fires at a blistering 7 frames per second right out of the box, a speed you can confidently push to a professional-grade 9 FPS simply by adding the optional battery grip and the D5 battery. Think about that engineering marvel. Almost 46 megapixels, delivered sequentially to your storage cards nearly 10 times a second. This throughput shattered the conventional rulebook that dictated high resolution meant low speed. The D850 made every professional photographer stop and seriously ask, what crucial performance am I truly giving up by transitioning to mirrorless? For many, the answer was, and still is, nothing substantial enough to warrant the change. And then there's the autofocus system. This is not a derived or adapted system. It is the legendary 153-point multi-cm 20K autofocus module, lifted directly from the absolute flagship, the D5. With 153 focus points, 99 of them being the highly accurate cross-type sensors, and a center point sensitive down to an almost unbelievable $4 EV. The darkness of a faint crescent moon. This is a laser-guided missile system for focusing. It locks onto targets with an instantaneous confidence, even in the absolute dimmest light of a banquet hall or a deep forest. It tracks a small, erratic bird in flight across the sky, and it finds the exact pupil of the eye in a chaotic, fast-paced portrait session. It is reliable, It is proven over millions of frames worldwide, and it is utterly predictable in its performance. This is the kind of focusing system you don't worry about. It's the kind of focusing you bet your entire career, your reputation, and your paycheck on. The D850 doesn't just manage data, it handles it intelligently. It offers dual card slots, 1S, D, 1XQD, or later, CF Express, giving the professional an essential safety net. You can configure them for overflow, for backup, or for RAW/JPEG separation. In the commercial world, a lost image is a lost client, and the D850's robust handling of massive files ensures you have redundancy built directly into the process. The presence of the XQD slot was initially controversial, but it was a crucial decision by Nikon to ensure that the monumental burst rate of 9 FPS could be handled without bogging down the buffer. The XQD and CF Express formats are the arteries through which this data monster breathes that we spend hours, sometimes days, with our camera in hand. If the tool is poorly designed, if it fights against you, if it's an active distraction, the art suffers and the moment is lost. The D850 is a masterclass in professional, considered ergonomics. It has a deep, sculpted grip that is designed not just for small hands, but for large, gloved hands in winter. It feels not like a tool you hold, but like an extension of your own arm. Every major dial, every function button, from the ISO button near the shutter release to the joystick-style focus selector, is placed precisely where a professional expects it to be. You can operate this camera blindfolded after only a few weeks of use. This is the comfort, the muscle memory of professional tooling perfected over decades. But the most profound, most emotional difference, the one that anchors a generation of photographers to this specific body, is the optical viewfinder. Look through a modern electronic viewfinder, and you are seeing a perfect, processed, and slightly delayed video feed, a digital simulation of the scene. It's helpful, yes, but it's detached. Look through the D850's viewfinder, and you see pure reality. You see light. You see the scene unfolding with your own eyes, framed by high-quality glass. This massive 0.75x magnification, 100% coverage pentaprism is bright, immersive, and absolutely crucial for critical landscape, architectural, and portrait work where you need to feel the moment, where you need to see the subtlety of light and shadow, not a digitally sharpened interpretation of it. This is the difference between observing your subject through a screen and experiencing your subject directly. It's a connection, a tactile feedback loop that no digital display, no matter how high the resolution, can perfectly replicate. Let's also talk about the battery life. This is not a mere talking point. It is a fundamental professional lifesaver. Mirrorless cameras, despite their constant improvements, are fundamentally power-hungry devices driving multiple high-resolution screens. The D850, by relying on its optical path, offers an endurance that is staggering. The Yin EL15A, or the updated Yin EL15C battery provides thousands of shots on a single charge. You can confidently shoot an entire, all-day wedding, complete a grueling multi-day hike deep into the wilderness, or run an intense, power-dependent studio session without the constant anxiety of searching for a power outlet or digging out spare batteries. This kind of longevity offers true, undeniable freedom. It lets you focus entirely on your craft, not your battery indicator. The D850 is famously a still camera, a specialist, but its video capabilities are often criminally underrated, particularly for cinematic B-roll and high-quality documentary work. It delivers stunning 4K UHD footage, recording across the full width of the sensor. This is a critical distinction. There is no punishing crop factor, no loss of field of view, no sudden change in the characteristics of your expensive wide-angle lenses. For documentary projects, cinematic interview setups, and professional-grade social content, this means gorgeous, clean, wide-angle footage straight from a highly reliable system. It's proof that a stills camera can deliver stunning video when the underlying sensor technology, that BSI monster, is this powerful and clean. Furthermore, it offers a dedicated flat picture profile, essential for color grading, and ports for both an external microphone and a set of headphones, allowing for professional monitoring of the audio, a feature still missing on some modern mirrorless bodies. The D850 is a complete, though slightly heavy, video production package. Now, we come to a feature that often gets overlooked, but is absolutely essential for wedding, event, and skittish wildlife photographers: the silent electronic shutter in live view. This is the DSLR's ultimate, definitive answer to the mirrorless promise of silence. When you need absolute, surgical discretion during a solemn wedding ceremony, capturing a theatrical performance, or when documenting a timid animal that will flee at the smallest mechanical sound, flipping to live view and engaging the electronic silent shutter turns this metallic beast into a ghost. You maintain the full 45.7 megapixel resolution with absolutely no mirror slap, no shutter clatter, and no distraction. It's a tool of stealth and surgical precision that every D850 owner uses religiously when the moment demands respect and silence. The criticism is understandable, and it is valid. It's heavy. It's bulky. It has a mirror that moves. The shutter cycle is loud when not in silent mode. But to judge the D850 purely by the metric of weight is to fundamentally miss the entire professional point. Its weight is its stability. Its mass dampens micro-vibrations, leading to sharper images, particularly when handheld with heavy telephoto lenses. Its bulk is its battery life and its heat dissipation. Its mirror is its instantaneous, unlagged vision of the world. In a world perpetually chasing smaller and lighter, often at the expense of professional robustness, the D850 stands as a resolute monument to professional substance and uncompromising build quality. It is built like an absolute tank. It is weather-sealed to a degree that inspires utter confidence when shooting through a monsoon, a blizzard, or a high-dust desert storm. When you're standing on a treacherous mountain ridge, shivering in the cold, or drenched in a sudden downpour, you want the camera that says, "I was built for this, and I will not fail." That camera is, unequivocally, the D850. But how does this aging Titan stand against the modern professional Titans? The flagship mirrorless models like the Z9, the Z8, or the Sony A1